Welcome back. You are listening to the Mari Mukonda Show on Salam Media. And joining me on the line right now to talk about the banning of hijab across Europe is Bshra Maqbel, who is a young Muslim student passionate about the ostracization of the headscarf. Yeah, such a tongue twister. Yeah, but anyways, the show must go on. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bushra, thank you for joining me.
Wa alaikum salam, thank you for having me.
All right, so the banning of the hijab across Europe, it's not something that just started yesterday. It's not something that started 2 years ago, but it's something that has been there for quite some time now. And since starting in France, it has sort of like spread like wildfire to 6 other countries across Europe, and everybody calling for the banning of hijab, for starting off with the full face veil and now also the burqa, as well as the headscarf like the ones you and I are wearing right now. So now I'd like to know, is there a need to ban the hijab? I mean, what is so frustrating and so scary that these people feel that the only way to get through to Muslims is to ban the hijab, what we use to cover our heads and our bodies?
First, I would like to say Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. I hope people who are listening to me are well and good. The fact that this is even being discussed is appalling. The fact that we are in the 21st century and we are discussing whether hijabi women should be allowed to wear the hijab is like, it's shocking. In places like Belgium and other European countries which always discuss having freedom of religion, freedom of expression, why is it that when it comes to wearing the headscarf, wearing the niqab, wearing a religious visible symbol, that people start to get, it's like, are they offended? It's so appalling, the fact that this is even being discussed, the fact that this is even, whether or not it gets banned or not, the fact that they are allowing it to be discussed in government and to have it in policies, it makes Islamophobia okay, and it excuses all the actions, all the racist actions and the remarks that are done to hijabis today.
That is absolutely true. I mean, it makes it look as it's okay to be Islamophobic, and Muslim women are not okay if they wear their headscarf or their niqab or whatever they use to cover their face, which is very unfair. If you call yourself a country which has freedom of religion, freedom of expression, etc., why not allow people to express themselves in a way that they feel comfortable?
Yeah.
Why is wearing the headscarf such a threat? What do you feel threatened by? So how has these bans affected Muslim women and like yourself, a student?
Actually, the impacts that it's had are catastrophic on Muslim hijabi women, because not only do they have the mental stress of knowing that for me to represent myself and to be true to myself, I am possibly at risk of either physical harm or verbal harm from other people. And these other people aren't just normal citizens. It may be the police, it may be my university professor. So like the mental stress that they are having by not only being accepted into uni, so all the hard work they've done to be accepted into uni, the amount of obstacles that they're about to face, they haven't ended yet. They haven't even started, because not only is it so hard for them to even continue and finish their degree if they're even allowed, but after that, when they go into the workplace, there are many jobs who will simply reject them just because of the hijab. And the fact that you are judging somebody based on what they are wearing rather than their skills and their grades and what they've worked so hard for it's hypocritical, because we always talk about meritocracy in the West and in Europe, but the fact that they are judging based on like the hijab, it shouldn't be allowed anymore.
So that gives an extra challenge for Muslim women, as if we
Yeah.
aren't already facing many challenges at the moment. Do you feel discriminated against and not given a chance because of wearing your headscarf?
I definitely feel like it lowers my chances. There's also a lot of subtle racism going on, so it's not like you can actually do anything about it, because they'll simply just reject the idea that they're doing it. And for me, as a Palestinian hijabi, like, the discrimination isn't as bad as Black hijabi women. They have like a double discrimination, because not only are they discriminated on based on their color and their race, but they are also discriminated on because of the hijab. And I know a lot of sisters who, it's very stressful, and it kind of makes you fear leaving your house in a way. So alhamdulillah, I don't have it. I've heard of many stories, and I know many people who have gone through experiences and racist comments and having the hijab taken off. And it's just unacceptable, because the hypocrisy is that the government and the people who are in power are using the hijab, they're politicizing it, they're using it as a weapon to show that Islam is scary and it's this foreign concept that shouldn't be accepted in society, when all they breach is, when in reality the government and everybody in power always breaches on how the Europe and how West, they have freedom to do what they want, and you're able to express yourself, and how the fact that is in the Middle East is where women get oppressed. But in reality, by not allowing me to wear what I want to wear, you are oppressing me. If you are forcing me to take off my hijab and forcing me to show what I do not want to show, I want to be able to control what people see of me, and to treat me and not to objectify me. But the fact that you are not letting me do that is, you are taking away from my rights as a citizen.
That is so true. And, another double standard that is currently there at the moment is, we are seeing big fashion houses that are coming up with a modest wear line for Muslim women. So it's like, we want your customers, but you rather wear that at home. Don't wear it in public. So it is a double standard. It's like, why are you having these fashion brands come up with modest wear for Muslim women, but yet you don't want them to wear it? It's like, what's the point?
Yeah, the modesty industry is on the rise, but by the wrong people. You cannot be a non-Muslim modest hijabi who is creating these modesty lines, because it doesn't fit with our morals and our values. Just simply saying that you've added a physical headscarf to an outfit and making it modest doesn't actually make it modest, because modesty and wearing the hijab is about a lot more than simply covering your head. So they are actually, not only are we used as a weapon, but we are also economically being taken advantage of, because they are using, making these modesty lines in the fashion industry to say, look, we are actually helping you guys and we are representing you. So you cannot say you are being discriminated against and that Islamophobia still happens, because look at the fashion industry. There are many hijabi models, but that's not the way that we want to be represented. If we are only going to be represented by fashion, then we don't want to be represented. We want to be represented everywhere. We want to have a voice and have a say in the matter. So, for example, in England, we have a lot of youth organizations like FOSIS and like ISOC, which is the Islamic Society in Universities, which gives Muslim women and Muslims a voice, and that's where we want to be represented. We want to go on and work in the government and work wherever we want to work without having the barrier put on us.
Now, what happens when these hijab bans come into effect? Can you protest against them? And if so, on what grounds?
On the grounds that it takes away from your rights. Of course, protesting is allowed and it should happen for things like this. Things like hijabis, the hashtag hijabis fight back has actually made a change. It does make a difference. The social media platforms have really helped. Physical protests in Belgium have been happening. they need to know, people need to know it's not okay. It's not okay to even discuss having the ban. Whether or not the ban happens, what's more important is that it's even being discussed and that people are seriously considering banning a religious headwear. I just can't seem to get my head around this. The fact that they even think it's okay to do this. And not only are they, of course, whatever the government's opinions and views, it's going to be echoed within society. So not only is, so that makes protests and actually us hijabis and Muslims standing up for ourselves so much more important, because the more that they discuss this, the more the people who already don't tolerate Islam and Muslims will just see it as okay to do what they want. After Boris Johnson made the comment about the burqas, he didn't apologize, and in fact, Islamophobic crimes, they soared, they hit the roof. Because if your own prime minister is doing it, then we can do it as citizens, right? That logically makes sense. But actually, it's been really admirable to see how hijabi women and Muslims, even non-Muslims who are supporting us, actually come and make other people aware, post on social media, and just not stay quiet. That's the way forward. That's the way that we're gonna let people know that what they're doing is wrong, by standing up for ourselves.
Mm-hmm. And what about those in higher powers, those in government? What can they do? I mean, because we vote for them, we give them the platform, yet, once they have those votes, once they have those seats, it's kind of like, they just dump you aside and go about their business.
To be honest, when it comes to people in power, they also use not just Islam, but religion as a weapon for their side. So, for example, there's been a lot of politicians and people in power who, before being elected, they've said, oh, we're going to help the Muslims, we're going to help these religions, these ethnic minorities, we're going to stop racism. But in reality, after getting elected, you're right, they do discard us on the side. And I think a way to battle this is to ensure that we are being represented in the government and in higher powers. I know there are schemes going on that help the BAME community and ethnic minorities and religious and women. So they do have schemes to try and get people who are not likely to be in that role, but I don't think it's enough. I think the only way forward is for us to be equally represented. A Black woman, a hijabi woman, even other religions. I'm not even talking just about Islam, because there are other religions also being discriminated against. The fact that we are becoming a secular society, especially in Europe, is stopping religions from being able to express for themselves. And it's not harming anyone. Me wearing a hijab isn't harming anybody, but me not wearing it is harming myself.
Definitely, it doesn't make sense why you should stop someone from wearing their headscarf, from being who they are, from representing and standing for what they believe in. If you can allow the Pope to wear his attire, if you can allow the nuns to wear theirs, why not allow the Muslim women? I mean, if you call it terrorism, even the Pope can have bombs in his robe. Even the nun can have. So why must it always be Muslim women who are looked at as a terrorist or as being bad people? We just give people the benefit of the doubt and don't judge them before you even get a chance to know them. Is there anything that the rest of the world can do to help fight this ban against the hijab?
I think speaking out about it and not staying quiet is very vital and important. And for other people who don't know our religion very well, they should try to learn more about it and become friends with Muslims, because the fact that we are labeled terrorists and all these negative words is simply a way to scare people from getting to know Muslims and generally fearing them. When in reality, we are normal, ordinary human beings who all we want is to live our lives and get jobs and just normal life. But the fact that in the news we are represented this way and the portrayal of Muslims everywhere around the world is so negative and so inaccurate, it's so incorrect. Like, to simply say that because I'm wearing a hijab, I'm automatically a terrorist, this is just another way to make Islam seem so foreign, and it marginalizes the rest of our community, because you can't simply judge someone by their religious dressing. As you said, the Pope covers, other religious people also cover. And the fact that me being a hijabi and terrorism are so closely associated with each other is not right. Not only is it not right, but the clever way that it's been done to reinforce this is only to marginalize us more.
And that's only gonna make things even worse for us as we try to live our lives as Muslim women and covered, which is so unfair, because that's the only thing
that becomes a fear. Every single hijabi woman, even myself, every time I go somewhere, I have a paranoia, or I have like feelings of stress. Like if I'm by myself, for example, automatically I already have this paranoia and this fear of something happening to me, of stares, of words, even verbal, like it matters, it does affect you. And that effect stays for a very long time. Like a lot of mental stress is being put on hijabi women because simply of the head covering. It doesn't add up, it doesn't make any sense. The fact that I, as a Muslim woman living in England, have to be careful just of other citizens who have the same rights as me, because my rights can be easily taken away. There have been so many countless women over the world who've had their hijabs taken off, who've been physically abused, but the perpetrator hasn't actually. I think they need to be more strict on those people who take the rights away from other citizens, so other people know that it's just simply not okay. It's not acceptable in our society.
It is definitely not accepted in any society, and which also just brings me to the story of Shukri Abdi, and who was killed by her fellow classmates. I mean, it starts at a young age. Parents are grooming their kids from a young age to hate people based on what they look like and based on what they wear. And it is very sad. Children should be children. Allow them to grow up, to learn, to play with each other, instead of hate one another based on what the person looks like or what they wear. All right, so shukran so much for your time, Bushra, and I wish you well in your future endeavors and your fight against the banning of
Thank you very much. I just simply think that we need to speak out against it and have a voice and be heard, because that is the only way to move forward.
Yes, definitely. That's the only way we are going to move forward. We can fight as much as we want. We can pay the fines if we have the means to do so, but if we don't speak out, nothing is.
We need to stand united together and show people the truth, because as you said, those students of Shukri Abdi, they didn't know what the real Islam was. Their parents didn't know. So if we educate people on different religions and we help them to accept it, we are in a society that is very ethnically diverse. So there should be no reason as to why we shouldn't accept everybody. Why we shouldn't accept Muslims, why we shouldn't accept hijabis, Shukri Abdi, and what's happening to many other people. The bullying that starts from a young age and becomes institutional racism. It's a pattern. It's a pattern. And if we don't stop it, it'll just get out of control and keep getting worse.
Yes, it does indeed. Shukran so much for your time, and
you're welcome. Thank you very much for having me. Assalamu alaikum.
It's a pleasure. Bushra Maqbel, live from the UK, joining me today to discuss the banning of the hijab across Europe. If you have any thoughts, comments, questions, or suggestions, you may leave them in the comment section below or send them to our WhatsApp. The number is 061-766-0355. And do stay with us. We will be right back.